All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Tycho Talks. Got JP with us. This is the first time we're actually meeting, and I will tell you the story of how we actually came across his profile on Instagram. But
Yeah,
before we get into it all, man, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, a bit about your background, what you do for work, what you study, a bit of your passions, that sort of thing.
awesome, bro. So obviously, my name is JP, Jean Paul. We kind of discussed that a bit earlier, but practically, I'm an online coach who specializes in changing the lives of busy men, right? Who struggle to build consistent routines because they are so busy, right? And essentially help those men get back into their prime self. So rather than just targeting just a random person, right? It's someone who has been in shape before and has kind of fallen off, if that makes sense.
For sure.
I work at Elite Subs, just casually on the side, and I'm studying business at uni.
Beautiful. Awesome. Tell us about how you got into the fitness, you know, the fitness journey or becoming an online coach. What actually led you down that path?
Awesome, bro. So yeah, um, essentially, right, I've kind of always just had a fitness background in general.
Mhm.
So growing up, essentially, right, I used to actually play basketball quite competitively, sorry. And pretty much, right, up until I'd say around, up until like 17, 18 was when I kind of like stopped and I was like, nah, like this isn't for me. I know I'm not gonna, pursue anything. And essentially from there, right, after, you know, wanting to pursue, a college career and obviously going pro, like practically like, any other, basketball player, wanting
Mhm.
to play, right? Practically every young kid's dream is to go play in the NBA one day. But after, having that realization, I was pretty lost and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself because my life was so regimented during that period of time, right when I was, very, very dedicated to basketball, if that makes sense. So it was pretty much just eat, sleep, train, repeat, up, practically every day, five to even every day sometimes, right? Throughout the week, I would, wake up, eat, sleep, train, like same over and over. And kind of when that was gone, right, and I didn't have that obligation, if that makes sense, to sort of fulfill that, I was really lost and I really didn't know essentially what to do with myself. I didn't really have like a good sense of purpose, who I was, what I wanted to be. Right? I didn't have that clarity. But essentially, just one day, right? I thought, why not? After pretty much after bumming around for like 2 or 3 months and not doing anything, I decided, to go to my school gym, start working out, and the rest is history, man. Here we are.
It's awesome. That's real cool. We were kind of talking off camera a bit about, the like lack of purpose, but then also I was mentioning how, when I got into gym, what ignited that was a breakup. Like I was at a really low point in my life, and then I decided that I wanted to, instead of like I could have continued to, down that trajectory of being a loser and being, lacking motivation and, just emotionally eating, whatever that's called. What's that called? What's it called when you like when
You,
you're going
yeah,
through
emotionally eating. Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
emotionally eating and just like watching TV and being lazy, but it actually ignited me to want to be better. And I was like, I had the mindset of, um, are you frozen again, bro? Oh no,
Me? No,
you're
no,
back.
no. I'm not.
Oh, good, good, good. That's
No, I'm not. I'm not. I think I was just really still. Like I was just
sleep,
listening to what you were saying.
sleep freeze. I was like, no,
Sorry, bro.
no, no, you're good, you're good. But yeah, like I went through, that kind of like I'm gonna get revenge type of thing, where it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
necessarily
yeah,
revenge, but I'm gonna
100%.
show her, like I'm gonna really go and build
Yeah,
myself.
bro. I
She,
get what you mean.
she's gonna regret it. So, a lot of people experience that, and I think a lot of men, especially, can relate to that. And it's like sometimes men need to hear that, like, when you are going through a tough time, like most of us do, pick yourself back up and go build something, go build yourself, right? So I think that's awesome. I guess, I mean, we're going to talk a bit more about, your experience in the gym and your journey in terms of your fitness background and your, you know, your journey over the last couple of years, what have you struggled with the most, do you think?
What in particular? What do you mean by struggle?
Whether it's you, like a personal struggle, maybe like a comparison issue, or whether it's just like dealing with certain clients, or from a business point of view, is there
Hmm.
anything that kind of comes to mind?
I think I'll touch on the like client sort of business struggle first, and then I'll go more personal.
Hmm.
So I think just obviously been working in the industry for a year and a half, couple years now, right? Everyone nowadays, and I'm sure like so many other coaches, or just people in the industry in general, literally anywhere, right, can attest that people are so well, everyone wants something very like very very quick. You know what I mean? Everybody wants everything as soon as possible, the quickest way possible, right? But without wanting to put in the work or essentially go through the sort of struggles that you need to go through to earn that, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I feel like I get so many, and I speak to so many young men in the DMs, right, about the young and old, like obviously but just men in general in the DMs, right? Talking to me about their goals and what they want to achieve, right? And saying that they want to, everyone's expectations are pretty much, just out of the water, if that makes sense. Like people want to think they can look like Sebum without, putting in the work, or people want to, lose 5 to 10 kilos, but don't want to sacrifice, going out to eat, or don't want to sacrifice, some sleep because you have to go train. You know what I mean? Like it just, people want things too quickly without putting in the hard work, essentially, is what I would say I've struggled with. And it's something that I try and really teach the people I work with, that it is a process, right? And with anything in life, right, it is a process. And your journey is going to have ups and downs, but they're all going to be for a reason at the end of the day. And they're going to shape you to who you want to be. And they're going to shape you essentially to who you're going to become and want to become, if you want to actually do that, if that makes sense.
It does make sense, of course. And you're right. I mean, everything these days, I mean, we've been programmed from a very young age to want, I mean, even just the swipe function on TikTok and Instagram, it's instant gratification, instant. Nobody wants to put the work in anymore to yield the results. People want what's going to happen, immediately. Like anything that comes out and says, "Hey, we'll help you burn fat in 7 days," that's going to sell. People know that's going to sell because people don't want to put in the work for months and months and months, right? So yeah, we live in that society. So I guess, how do you coach someone who doesn't have a um, what's it called, a delayed gratification mindset? Because with gym, with anything that you're working towards, where you want to succeed at it, you need a bit of a delayed gratification where you're going to
Of
sacrifice
course.
in the immediate to gain in the long term. So how do you coach people who don't have that mindset and who are very much like instant
Yeah,
gratification minded?
100%. It's a great question. Definitely, I've dealt with a lot of people in the same, like practically everyone is pretty similar to that nowadays. So I've had to obviously deal with my fair share. But I'd say the first thing is really knowing why you want to do it, right? And making sure that they, know what their why is, and having a really strong sense of purpose towards why they actually want to do it. You know what I mean? Without that sense of purpose at the end of the day, and without you or me essentially doing the job as the coach to remind them of that, they're never going to do it at the end of the day. Let's be real, right? But as well as that, if someone naturally isn't like that, right, and they constantly want to go out and go for cravings, go for this, go for that, right, that's actually something you can change without too much difficulty, to be honest. You kind of just identify the habit, the root cause of what you do, right? Similar to what we were speaking before, right? You speaking about you emotionally eating, right? Why were you emotionally eating? You know what I'm saying? Because you felt bad, and it was a way to sort of relieve stress. You know what I mean? If you can identify, right, the cause and effect of something that you do or a habit that you do, and you just actively and consciously will become conscious of it, if that makes sense, then over time, obviously it's not going to be easy, but it will become easier and easier to essentially eradicate, if that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good answer. Second part of the question in terms of struggle, I want to know how you combat comparison, because I've been I'm pretty good at it now. I don't like to compare. I understand that my journey is my own journey, and the only thing I need to compare to is who I was, 6 months ago, a year ago. That's it. I can go to the gym and I can see guys who are way bigger than me. And by the way, I'm a short dude, so guys who are 6 foot and
How
they've
tall are
got
you?
muscle on them. I'm not very tall, not very tall. I think I'm
Okay.
like 165 centimeters.
Nah,
It's
bro,
like
that's calm, bro. No, no, no,
it's,
I get
it's
you.
not that tall, man. But look, it
I'm
is
not
what it
that
is.
tall either, bro.
It,
Don't worry.
look, it's out of my control, man. Unless I go get like knee
Exactly.
surgery. I've seen the procedure
Do
for that.
do the yeah,
Dude, nah,
the
nah,
wind it, and yeah,
dude.
I've seen
Yeah,
it.
look, I'm not
You
willing
break
to.
break your tibia.
I'm not. Yeah, yeah. You know what they do for that surgery? Yeah, they like break your leg in three parts,
Yeah.
and then reconstruct it.
Nah, that's cooked, bro.
I, I'm like, no, no, no. I'll be a short king. It's fine. But honestly though, like I'll go to gym and there'll be like 6 foot guy, and he's got massive shoulders and muscly,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's hard to look at a guy like that and not feel sorry for myself. Look, I'm pretty good at it, but I'm good at not comparing. But I guess, I mean, what's your advice for guys out there who find themselves in that hole, especially when they're first starting out, where they compare their physique to other guys?
Look, like you said, obviously learning to love the process and the journey, I think is undoubtedly the easiest way to overcome that. You know what I mean? Understanding and staying in your own lane is the only way to do so, if that makes sense. Understanding where you are and understanding and obviously trying not to compare yourself, is the best way to go about it. You know what I mean? But undoubtedly, it's hard. Everyone does it. Like even me to this day, we constantly see it on social media. We constantly see it, like even at my gym. The people I train with, like everyone, no matter what, whether it's business, whether it's the gym, whether it's that, right? We're always going to compare ourselves.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, I think just having that circle, right, and having those close group of people that support you on your journey, having that strong sense of why, like I said earlier, obviously with my clients and changing their habits, right? But obviously with you, you have to have your strong sense of why to overcome that, right? And as well as that, just learning to love the process and enjoy the journey through everything, right? And essentially just having faith that everything's going to work out at the end of the day is what's going to undoubtedly get you to where you want to get to, right? And it's going to help you stop comparing yourself, obviously, to the mass majority, if that makes sense. And you also actively have to reflect on your progress, no matter how no matter if you think it's you know sort of like, what's the word? It's like sort of being up yourself, if that makes sense. Like obviously you don't want to be like, even if
Egotistic.
you may think, oh, it's great, you know what I mean? Like being up, you get what I'm saying, right? Sorry,
Yeah.
I've explained it really, really badly, but
No, no, yeah,
uh,
I understand exactly what you're trying to say. It's all good.
yeah. But yeah, so first and foremost, obviously just enjoying the process, enjoying the journey, to having those close group of people around you, right? And those close friends, loved ones, partners, whatever, right? That support you throughout your journey, right? And keep you grounded to where you want to go. Having that
Sure.
strong sense of why and why you actually want to do it. And at the end of the day, just having faith that everything is going to, work out, I think is undoubtedly, what's going to get you through that.
Yeah, awesome. You said something that triggered something in my head. So when you were talking about, you have to reflect on your journey and kind of see where you were and how that may seem egotistical or narcissist, where
Yeah,
you kind of
sorry, those are the right words. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
there you go.
I understood what you meant anyway, so it's all good. As long as I understand, it's good. But
Yeah,
like
sweet.
when you think about it, right? If you are looking at yourself in a way to improve yourself, that's not narcissism and that's not being egotistical. That's being genuine to yourself and giving yourself your best shot to improve. Whereas if you were doing that, but in a way where it's like, I'm better than you, I'm better than him, I'm better than JP, that's where it becomes narcissistic and egotistical. Is egotistical a word, bro? Egotistical?
I think it is. No, it
Sure.
definitely. I think it definitely is a word, but you nailed it on the head. Yeah, 100%.
But you know what I mean? So I think that's the difference. I
Yeah,
think you're right. I mean, if you're reflecting on your progress and you're taking pride in your work for you, and it's to better yourself, I don't think that's not a negative thing. Whereas if you're taking pride in your work and you're like, yeah, I'm better than this person, and I'm the biggest guy in the gym, like, yeah, maybe that can come across as your ego's a bit too high.
for
I
sure.
guess on because I'm you kind of you've segued into the next topic, which I'll ask you about
Yeah,
in a second. But
awesome.
before we move on, in terms of comparison, I remember I was out at dinner with this girl a while ago, and we were talking about comparison, and she asked me a question. I actually said this. I said, "What has helped me with comparison is there is always going to be. I could be who's like the most attractive person on planet Earth? Do you think?
That's
Just
tough
like
to be fair.
what, like no, like one of the Chris Hemsworth guy, right? Just
Okay,
like
sure.
no, really, really like good looking to majority of people. I could be him, and there will always be another guy who's more attractive than me. You could be Chris Hemsworth, and there's always going to be another guy who's more attractive than you. And when I came to that realization that no matter what I look like, I could be a solid 10. I'm a solid like 6.5, but I could be a solid 10. And there's always going to be a guy out there who's better looking than me. And so if that's all I'm bringing to the table, if I'm at dinner with this chick and that's all I'm bringing to the table is my looks, then I'm in trouble. Now, what helps with the comparison is if I know for a fact that I'm sitting with her having dinner, and there's not going to be another Nate. There's not going to be another me. There's going to be another better looking guy out there for sure, but there's not going to be another me with my personality and my sense of humor and everything that I bring to the table. And that's stuff that I've really had to work on. So I think that when it comes to comparison, it's helped me deal with it. You know what I mean? It's like at the end of the
100%.
day, there's always going to be a taller dude, better looking guy, a guy with more muscle than me, but I can't control that. What I can control is, my personality, what I bring to the table. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
100%. 100%. I agree. 100%. Like controlling the controllables at the end of the day is all you can do with anything in life, right? At the end
Yeah,
of the day, you're kind of, stuck with what, God's given you, right? And what you've been given, right? And how you've been built and how you've been made. All you can do is improve on that and um essentially just do everything every day to be your best self and just improve on the Nate or improve on the JP, you know what I mean, every day just become a better version of Nate, become a better version of JP every day. 100% I agree.
absolutely. That was so well said, man. So next question is actually got to do with your why. I want to know what your why is. Like, why are you building, a brand? Why are you building a following online? Why are you building your business? Because it's a, it's
100%.
a, it's a lot bigger than I want to help a couple of guys at the gym. So
That's
what's your why?
obviously, yes, obviously it's probably the surface level answer for sure, but undoubtedly I want to be a very strong male role model, right? For young men and even just men in general, right? To help them, obviously for the similar reasons, like I said before, right? Help them find their purpose, help them, find clarity in their life, and ultimately, right, just become the best version of themselves and become strong men, because undoubtedly, right, society is a bit of a mess at the moment. Let's be
Mm,
honest,
for sure.
and with tough times, weak men follow, right? But with good times, strong men follow. You know what I mean? And I think that if the world's gonna get better, right, the men need to step up. You know what I mean? And I think men need to become men again, if that makes sense.
Mm,
Do the hard shit, do do things you don't want to do, and essentially just become better. You know, better men for everyone else, if that makes sense. And I think being that role model, right, I think is undoubtedly the biggest reason why I want to build, my brand, my personal brand. But as well as that, obviously document my journey and show everyone that despite what people may say, right, and despite what backlash I may get, I'm still going to do whatever I have to do to get to where I want to get to. And I'm not going to let anyone stop me, if that makes sense. And I want to be that role model for everyone and essentially use, the bodybuilding, the gym, and obviously just fitness as a tool for people to get there, if that makes sense.
Does make sense. Once again, that was really, really well said. I want to ask about your vision for your personal brand as well. But I mean, you mentioned about society and weak men, and believe it or not, I have a lot of conversations with a lot of females who are sick and tired of the need for them to fill the masculine role that is gone absent, right? It's gone missing, and they're kind of fed up with it. They're like, I'm sick of having to fill this masculine role because it needs to be filled, but the guy I'm talking to is not filling it for me. Like he wants to be babied. He wants me to pay for the dinners. And one of my favorite quotes, my internet's a bit funny, so if I can't quote it exactly, maybe you can find it for me,
That's okay,
but
bro.
you'll know it. And this is my all-time
Yeah.
favorite quote. It's strong men create good times. Um, Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and hard times create strong men. And it's just a cycle.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
really
practically
interesting.
what I was trying to get at before, but I didn't word it
Absolutely.
very well. Yeah.
No, that's all right. And
Sorry,
that's
bro.
literally a quote though, word for word. And we're in that time where because our parents had such hard times or our grandparents had hard times, we're in a society where it's so easy right now. But as a consequence of that, of how easy we have it, we're in a society where there's weak men and they don't take personal responsibility, and they lead with their emotion instead of their logic. And you're right, it's a bit of a mess, and as a result of that we're going to have a weakened society, and then we're going to have to do a 180 where we're going to have terrible times because of the last decade of easiness. And then, like you said, men are going to have to step into that masculine energy again. And I think that's what we've been seeing with, the whole Andrew Tate movement, right? Whether you disagree or you agree, doesn't matter. The point is that he ignited this fuel and this desire for men to be strong again and to play a
For sure.
masculine role, right?
For sure.
Um, I guess, I mean, for you, what is your vision with your personal brand? Like, if I could if I could tell you that everything you tell me in the next 60 seconds is going to come to life in the next 5 years, what would you tell me your vision is?
As in, do you want it to be like more tangible stuff or just in general?
We'll start with the tangible.
Tangible? I think 100,000 followers. Time freedom, financial freedom. Um, Obviously, financial stability, a person who people can rely on
Mhm,
and who they look up to, similar to all the reasons from what I was saying earlier.
mhm,
And yeah, I guess essentially just help men become strong again, you know what I mean? Because
mhm,
I think it's undoubtedly one of the biggest downfalls I think of, the last decade or two, you know what I mean? I think like I was saying, like you said brilliantly, you know, the society's gone to a mess, let's be honest. And we are going through tough times now, despite what people think. And I think that me being that person for everyone would truly make me so fulfilled, like genuinely. Like I if I can help out as many men become strong again and essentially, fix up society, fix the world, whilst obviously helping, myself, my family, and obviously just giving as much as possible to as many. That's all I ever ask, and that's all I've ever wanted. Not really to flex, you know, a Lamborghini or Rolly or you know living in Dubai, the millionaire. Like that's not what I want at all. I just want to be truly a good man who is able to provide safety, security, and obviously help out as many men fill that role and become that for their people. You know what I mean? That's pretty much it.
That's beautiful, man. No, I agree. I agree with you 100%. I think that, back to the issue with society is when that role, that provider role, like men biologically are providers. Okay, women are nurturers, and they're beautiful in their own way. Okay, I guess when that role was taken away from men through like the radical feminist movement, and I want to say radical because at at the end of the day, we're all feminists. We're all traditional. We believe in equal rights to an extent. In the eyes of God, men and women are equal, of equal value. Okay, so when I say radical, I mean like, well, this whole bullcrap that started coming where you know you know what I mean. I don't want to get into it, but the
Of
point is,
course.
through that movement, something that men were known for, which is being a provider, that was taken away from them. And it's like, no, no, you can provide for yourself. It's like, duh, we know that women can go work and provide for themselves, but you've taken something away from
It's
men.
it's the volition to want to do it for them.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Right. And so even though we know that, yeah, women can provide for themselves, like I'm very attracted to women who are strong anyway. I always compare to, I don't know if you've seen Suits. Have you seen Suits? So the
Yes.
Jessica Pearson, like, boss
Mm.
lady. I've always been attracted to
Yeah.
that. Anyway,
Yeah.
of course my woman is going to be able to provide for herself, but if she doesn't give me the opportunity to want to provide for her, the relationship's not going to work.
a hundred
Do you know
percent.
what I mean?
But at the same time, I think that I agree with you 100% that, undoubtedly the male female dynamic, right, and the traditional way should be is kind of the way how I feel, every relationship should be. But the man kind of needs to earn that respect, I feel, if that
For
makes
sure.
sense. A woman just can't give her, you know, essentially, I kind of don't, well, submit essentially, right? Or just, let them do it. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Mm,
With full trust and certainty, if the man hasn't, you know what I'm saying? If the
mm,
man is some, bum who genuinely doesn't, you know, have good intentions for them, doesn't communicate often with them, or doesn't actually show them respect on that end, you know what I mean? Then why would they give them that respect back? Do you get what
mm.
I'm saying? I feel
Yeah.
like as a man, right, you have to have your respect earned from your woman for her to treat you like that. You know what I mean? And you have to essentially, you know, build the dynamic for the relationship. The men in my like even in my like yeah, like the men at the end of the day dictate how the relationship goes. They build the dynamic and the woman reflects it. It's like a mirror. The way you treat a woman is how she treats you. It's just like a mirror gets pulled up in front
100%.
of you.
100%. You got to, I mean, when I say people have to understand that a woman will automatically, as a default, fall into her feminine energy when she feels safe enough around a guy and she knows that he's going to take care of her. And not in the way, and look, in today's age, it's very different to what it used to be. When I say take care of her, I mean like you said, emotionally support her and take care of her. Like, can you communicate without getting angry, without being a 12-year-old boy and throwing a
100%.
tantrum? Can you, if
100%.
she if
Yeah.
she has an issue, can you listen to her and actually comprehend what she's trying to tell you without throwing a tantrum and being like, "You're always trying to stop this." It's like, no, listen to her.
Exactly.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, wh-
100%.
and when a woman finds a guy who's able to fulfill that sense of security emotionally, because at the end of the day, we're in a generation where women don't need you for money. They can go work for themselves. They don't need you to protect them physically because it's not every day where we're going to war, right? It's very rare that we're going out in Melbourne City and I have to physically protect her because someone's going to attack us. Yeah, that may happen, but it's very unlikely. But what women need in today's generation is that emotional support and security, right? Is my man going to have my back? That type of thing. And when they find someone like that who plays that role and fulfills that role, they by default want to be feminine because, like you said, you've earned their respect and then they want you to lead. They want you to. But you're right. I mean, you lead. I heard this thing where it's like you're the head, but she's the neck. I heard
Yes.
this thing where
I
she's
think
like
it says
she
that in scripture.
yeah, well she
Yeah,
will dictate, but you've got to lead from the front, but she's a massive part. Like without the
of course.
neck, good luck going anywhere. You know what I mean? So
100%, bro. 100%. And I think you nailed it on the head. I think, if you can't be, like you were saying, like, you can't be, like, what's the word? You have to be, like, if you have a calming presence, right? And if you make her, like you said, make her feel safe, you are emotionally intelligent, right? And you can have, a proper conversation about, how, your woman feels, right? And making sure that they feel heard. Like undoubtedly, they're gonna feel like they're safe and that they are heard. You know what I mean? So I think you nailed hit the nail on the head again, bro. Like, yeah, that's all I gotta say. You hit the nail on
yeah,
the head.
I think we're both feeding off each other, and that was great. I want to
No, I
move on to
love that.
something different, and this is actually how I found you. So let's talk about
I wonder.
Instagram. Let's talk about Instagram. Let's talk about posts that may have gone viral because one of your posts came up in my feed. All right, and I watched it the first time, and I kind of like I was looking at the comments, and I didn't really think much of it. I was like, yeah, whatever. And then you just kept coming in my feed, and I think some of your posts have gone like 6 million views, right? I know one of them's like six point
Yeah,
six million, another's like 50,000. You kind of the algorithm is picking you up for a number of reasons. Now you look through some of the comments. I'm not going to read them out. It would be funny if we did. I'm not going to read them out.
I don't mind, bro. Honestly,
I know,
if you want
I
to,
know, I know you don't mind. I know that you're chill like that. You're like, yeah, let's read them out. But my internet's stuffy.
that's all
We'll
good,
go
bro.
through it. We'll
No.
go through it. But
Okay, sweet.
I was reading a few, and dude, I'm not gonna lie. It's funny. I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes you just have to
Yeah,
laugh, and
no,
and
100%.
it's like one of the posts is like, you know, POV, you're a bodybuilder, something going out for dinner or whatever, and you
Yeah,
got a scale. And by the way, I do this at all my Christmas parties. I take a scale, so I
no
related to that
way.
for sure. I take a scale, I weigh everything up, and look at me, I'm not
Hectic.
massive, but it's just something that I want. You know what I mean? Like, who the hell cares? But you go to the comments section and people are rinsing you. They're like,
Bro, it's so funny. It truly is. It's hilarious.
like, what's one of your favorite comments, for example, that you can just think of top of
Oh,
your head?
dude, I can't say. It's really bad.
Some of them are bad. I'll have to link the video. But anyway, the
Do
reason
you,
I
do you want me to say it, but we can bleep it?
no, say it, bro. I don't care. Say it.
They were. I think it's just they were saying something about like me being like a child from Auschwitz, like genuine,
Oh, no way.
like a full Auschwitz,
No
like
way.
yeah, full on. Like I've seen
Bro.
that. It's pretty
Oh,
bad.
see,
But there's so
that's
many, bro.
that
It's
must
it's
have been
like
funny fans because I haven't seen that comment,
you
but I've seen
haven't, bro.
no.
I've seen that so many times, and I think like the common one. It's just like I don't know. It kind of confuses me. It's like the same comments over and over and over again. It's like, is the bodybuilder in the room with us?
That's the one that I
Like
get. Yeah.
all that sort of you know um sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like it's just copy and paste. Like each I'm just like, what's going on? Like
Dude, well, that's what I realized after I saw one of your posts, read the comments. I was like, yeah, whatever. Saw another one, and I read the comments, and they were like exactly the same. It's like these keyboard warriors are ready for when you post a POV
yeah.
about you taking a scale to a restaurant. They're ready to just post, "He's the bodybuilder," and it gets a bit cheesy, but I'm not gonna lie, it's freaking hilarious reading the comments. Now, at the end of the day, you may actually be intentionally posting these videos to like rage bait to get people to kind of view it, and that's cool. Like I totally respect that. It's fine, right?
hmm
I guess the question I have for you, right, is when you read that stuff, like how do you not let it affect you?
It's a great question, man. It really is because I'll be real with you. I'm gonna be honest. Like it definitely did, especially with that first video,
Sure.
right? Because I've never obviously had that. Like not many people can say that they've had that experience. You know what I mean? Of just
Yeah.
getting absolutely blasted like on the internet,
Yeah.
right? It did for initially, right? I'd say like the first day or so, I was like, oh damn, like this is this is pretty bad. But then I just kind of sat and reflected, and I'm like, you know what? Like we were saying earlier, right? It's probably one, a test, right? Two, an opportunity. And three, anyone who's tried to do something big or tried to do something, big with their life or out of the ordinary, right? Or wants to achieve something at a spectacular, caliber, if that makes sense, has to do something out of the ordinary, like I said, and they have to do something that isn't normal. And I think that so many people think that, or so many people want to be extraordinary, but won't do the things that are, are going to get you there, or that aren't what is, accepted, by other people. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And understanding that, and that I'm doing it for myself and for where I want to go, helped me obviously overcome that, right, initially. But as well as that, um, I would say that anyone who's tried to do something big, like I was saying, has copped some sort of hate, right? And if you're not copping some sort of backlash or hate, you're probably not on the right path, or you're not actually separating yourself from the norm. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, how could you want to be here, but you're doing everything that the people here are doing, if that makes sense?
Does make sense for sure. Absolutely. And I mean, now you've got something to prove now. I guess, I mean, does it motivate you or does it give you anxiety? Because I'd always like to think that when we blow up and we, that I'm in two minds about this because the hate comments, like, that when the hate comments are on your page, the algorithm is pushing you. They're actually going to help you, bro. All those hate comments are going to help you. And that's what they don't
No, of
get. They don't
course.
get that
Yeah.
actually, if it wasn't for those hate comments, I would not have found you. I just wouldn't have
We wouldn't
found
be
you.
here right now.
We wouldn't be here right now. So,
Yeah.
all those comments about is a bodybuilder in the room with us? Like, well, thank you, because now we're having this amazing conversation.
Exactly.
But like I'm in two minds because I actually don't think the hate comments are necessarily a bad thing. They're actually going to help you push your content out there.
No,
But
dude, 100%.
yeah,
Why
but I
do you
mean,
think I keep doing
yeah,
it?
well, exactly, exactly, and it's smart for you to use that and ride the wave. You have to, right? I guess. I mean, I'd like to think that when it happens, when the hate comments come in, I'd like to think that I'm going to, you know, not let it affect me and not lose sleep over it. I sit here and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But you never know until you're actually in that situation. So when that first video went viral and all those hate comments were coming in, were those comments motivating you? You're like, oh no, this is good, I'm out there, or was it giving you some sort of anxiety? Did you kind of second guess your journey?
So like I did say initially, I was a bit in my head about it all. Like I was like, oh damn, like this is like, you know what I mean? Like probably like anyone, right? Like, damn, people don't like me. People, I'm not going to be perceived like the best way. I'm not going to be, what I'm saying, right? Like I said initially, but undoubtedly, like I said, once I had that little mindset shift, it's motivated even harder to get me to where I want to get to. Undoubtedly, right? I actually have a comment screenshotted in my photo, or in my camera roll, and it's like the comment was, "You're never going to be a bodybuilder at 5'8", like whatever 60 something kilos, whatever I was at the time, right?" And I've just got that favorited on my favorite, like on my camera roll.
Yeah.
And in the context, I actually haven't told you, so I'm actually planning on competing in a couple of years' time. I'm not sure if you know that, but
No.
that's pretty much the context behind it, and is the reason why I'm actually going out and doing all this. Like I am going to compete in a couple of years' time. I'm on a pretty strict meal plan, like probably as you can relate to, right? And my cheat meal is controlled, so that's why I actually bring out the scale, and because I have to weigh it, you know what I mean? Like I can't,
Yeah.
like not follow the meal plan. That's just like me in general. Like I've always been like all or nothing, you know what I'm saying? And but ever since, yeah, 100%, like dude, it motivates me so much. Like it's really good, 100%. And ever since all this has happened, it's undoubtedly, you know, helped me push myself to limits that I didn't even think were possible. 100%.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's good, man. I'm glad that it's motivating you rather than preventing you from continuing with the journey because I mean it's really interesting because you know if you were a fat bastard sitting there doing nothing with your life, you'd have all these people saying, "Why doesn't this guy just hit the gym? Why doesn't this guy control what he eats? Why doesn't this guy, blah 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 blah?" But then
100%. No matter what you do, bro, you're gonna get hate. Let's be
exactly,
honest.
exactly. Um, but then once again, I mean, like you're doing all this stuff, and now you've got people who. Sorry, man, it just started raining. Can you hear that?
I can. I was a bit confused. I was like, is the mic like messing up or something? I was
No,
like,
no,
oh,
no.
nah,
I've
nah, all
brought
good,
the mic
bro.
closer, but that's Melbourne for you, bro. Melbourne. It was a beautiful day today, and now
Yeah. Oh, dude. Trust. I've been plenty of times. It's very bipolar. I
it's
know.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're sort of towards the end anyway, so it shouldn't be too bad. Hopefully,
Nah, dude.
the noise
All good.
isn't too bad.
Nah, all good,
Um,
man.
but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you'd have people saying all this negative stuff, and then what's interesting is you're actually taking care of your body. You're taking care about over what you eat, and then you still have the same hate in the comments. You know what I mean? So it's interesting.
100%.
What?
And people don't necessarily know the context behind it either. They just, I think that's just, with social media in general, right? Like you said, the keyboard warriors and even just people in general don't understand the context behind anything before they go and comment. You know what I mean? And I think that's just a big problem, especially on social media nowadays. Like no matter what it is, right? Whether it be me getting blasted, whether it be another person doing something else. You know what I mean? I think that's just a big problem with social media. They don't understand the context behind anything that happens. You know what I mean? Or why people are doing what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure, man. I want to ask you a couple of questions, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll have to do this again for sure.
No, for sure,
Um,
man.
so I guess for you, being on this journey and being like an Instagram influencer, what's something about that people don't realize?
First and foremost, I think it's pretty crazy that I've been called an Instagram influencer. Like I truly just think I'm another young kid just documenting my journey and trying to make something of myself. But the fact that you regard me as that is pretty cool. 100%. No one's ever really said that yet, so it's a nice feeling for sure.
The
But
first, there's a first for everything, bro. So I'm
100%, bro.
glad you're on the
100%.
first.
No, 100%. But I would say that it's a lot more work than people make it out to be, like without a doubt. Like you probably can attest just even setting up the pod and just, editing it all and whatnot. It takes so much time out of your day. It's like even more than a full-time job, undoubtedly, right? Like balancing, the filming, the editing, the the ideas, the outreach, the just everything, bro. Like it really is a full-time job. And it is tough and it's not for everyone, but undoubtedly it's very rewarding at the end of the day if you put in the time and the effort, because you know having the freedom and to do what and to do things when you want to, if that makes sense, having that time freedom, obviously not necessarily the financial freedom as of yet, but having that time freedom, like undoubtedly is the best thing ever. You know what I mean? You wake up, you can choose when to train, you can choose when to do work, you can choose when to spend time with your loved ones. You know what I mean? I think undoubtedly not many people have that, and just being blessed and being grateful to have that, it should be something that undoubtedly people strive for if they do want to become or start posting online, right? But it's not as easy as it seems, as people make it out to be. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to post a video and then that's it. It's not. It's a lot harder than that.
For sure. I know how hard it is. Leads on to the next question is like, well, I mean, it's something I struggle with because you're right, it takes a lot of work. It's a lot of work editing, shooting, even like the energy. Like you get so drained just setting something like this up. And I'm
Oh,
enjoying this
yeah.
conversation for sure, by the way. But the things like the internet crashing and then Melbourne deciding to the thunder coming out of
To rain.
nowhere. Dude, that wasn't even just rain. That was like crazy to the point
Torrential.
where
Yeah,
my
it was
mic,
pretty loud to be fair,
it was
but
loud as bro. I'm like,
yeah.
what the? So it's like there are things that you can't control, and it makes the journey little bit tough. But I mean, how do you deal with, the boredom of like posting every day or posting however X amount of times a week and not seeing the results? Now, I know for you, you have actually seen the results because a few of your videos have exploded, like, and not just one, like a few of them have, had that reach to audiences. Our content hasn't necessarily done that yet, but I mean, what kind of keeps you going?
I think, like I've mentioned overall on the entire podcast, just knowing your why and knowing the bigger picture is obviously always, the most important thing with anything. If you don't know why you're doing something and you don't have that reason behind it, you're never gonna, remember or continue to do it, even when it is tough at the end of the day. You know what I mean? But I would say that it's kind of become a part of my life, if that makes sense. Like it feels weird not to post or not to do something like that. It's gotten to that point. And if you can get to that point with anything, right? Whether it be, like I was saying earlier, with the gym, with your eating, with your business and whatnot. If it feels weird not to work, if it feels weird not to post, if it feels weird not to train, if it feels weird not to eat, then you're probably on the right track to where you want to get to. And if you want to get somewhere, right, and you want to, achieve something, making the non-negotiables, right, and the things that are actually going to get you there a part of your daily life and just a part of, your own habits, right? Without a doubt, you're going to get there, right? Because it will feel weird not to do them, if that makes sense. So obviously, yes, having a video do, 12.5 million views, right, is obviously very motivating, right? But I think it's just obviously a testament to all the hours that I've put in before that. You know what I mean? Behind the scenes where no one else was, seeing, you know, me editing, me filming, me, planning the content, me curating it. You know what I mean? And all those times when I was doubting myself. You know what I mean? You will have those moments, and whether it be 5 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the track, right? You will have that moment, and undoubtedly you are gonna start seeing results if you do those non-negotiables every day, right? And if those things become habits. That's pretty much it at the end of the day, bro. That's kind of the answer. Yeah.
So that's well said. Well said. I think you're right. I mean, I know you've answered a lot of the questions in a similar way. It's like, well, how big is your why? Like your why is what's going to keep you going. Your why is going to, is the wave that you're going to ride while all this hate is happening. Because I mean, it's one thing. I mean, you can try and react. You can be reactive to the hate and try and react and all this kind of stuff. But if your why is big enough, you don't even need to do that. Like it's kind of just like it's a little hiccup in the journey, you know.
100%. 100%.
So it's
I've
good.
I've take pride on the fact that I haven't responded to a hate comment, like not one. Like
Do you ever think? Because I was thinking about this. Like, do you ever think like respond, but just be cheeky about it, or just be like have a bit of fun with it? Like,
even if people obviously belittle me online, or even if people belittle me in general, right? I I never want to inflict anything back on them or inflict on the person inflicting the harm, if that makes sense.
yeah,
That's just always been me. I don't know. I can't really explain it, but I've never just had the urge, no matter what, right? Like you were saying, obviously, with, your previous relationships and whatnot, right? You wanting to feel that revenge. I understand what you're saying. But at the end of the day, you know, I think understanding that it's all part of a journey, it's all part of, you know, your your story, right? It's gonna make you who you are, undoubtedly means more. And I think killing people with kindness or killing people with silence, right? Either one of them, right, is well, it just shows more. It says a lot more than saying anything, if that makes sense.
sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I mean, like, do you read all the comments or you don't read the comments? Because there's like thousands of comments on some of those videos.
It's tough to read all of them, obviously, but occasionally I do. Yeah, I read them sometimes, but most of the time I just ignore them because
Yeah,
practically, like we were saying earlier, like it's just copy and paste the same stuff, bro. Like Just
pretty
like,
much.
yeah, I'm just like,
It's like at
what's
least
even
be
going on?
original.
Yeah, I know.
No, that's fair, man. It's good. It's good that you've got that mindset with it. Uh, yeah, no, that's awesome. You know, I really appreciate you coming on. Obviously, we'll have to do it again another time. Hopefully, you know, as soon as we've got a proper studio, like definitely come down. Even if I come up to Sydney, like surely there are places where you can rent out a studio for
There
an hour.
definitely are, bro. There definitely are. I'm not too sure where exactly, but I know for sure we could, set something up if we were to come here or to come down there. Like obviously, once you get the studio set up, like we'll sort it out, bro. I'm definitely keen to do it.
Me too, man. We'll definitely we'll do this again for sure. But I really appreciate you coming on. I where can people follow you or any last words from you?
Any last
Maybe
words from
plug,
me?
plug your socials while you're here.
Plug my socials. So pretty much my main social is Instagram. So it's just at jpgonios, jp.gonios. And I've also got a YouTube, which I'm actually starting back up as of this week, and that's just Jean Paul Gonios, my full name.
Perfect. Awesome, man. All right. Well, thanks again. We'll end it there. And yeah, hopefully we see you soon, eh?
For sure, man. I really appreciate the opportunity and the time.
All good. Thanks, man.